Welcome back to another edition of Strengthening Oklahoma. And this edition of Strengthening Oklahoma is brought to you by the Winston in Norman. The Winston's got great food, better drinks, and the best patio in Norman. Visit thewinston.com to see their menu or order online. We were actually just at the Winston a few weeks ago as the guys came and signed some items, and I can attest the food is absolutely fantastic, as is our next guest, fresh off a good start to the season, a 1-0 victory against UTEP, and now getting ready for Kent State here coming up very, very quickly. Welcome to the show, wide receiver Jalil Farooq. Jalil, great to have you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be on the show again.
Awesome, man. We love it. We always love chatting with you. Like that smile you got on your face. Another game time just around the corner, but let's go back real quickly. First game of the Brent Venables era. How good did it feel to be back out there on Owen Field?
It felt great. It felt great to be back in the stadium when it's fully packed and everything. Felt great to be back on the field. I just love. I felt it was fabulous to have my first start this past weekend. I felt great out there.
So you mentioned it being your first start there, running out of the tunnel for the first time, like knowing that you're going to play a significant role in the game. Like, did it feel different than last year? You know what I mean? Like, how different did it feel for you?
It was a complete different feeling running out there. I couldn't even explain to you how many thoughts were going through my head. I was just so excited. I just was just jumping out the roof, just running out there, super excited compared to last year. I mean, I was excited last year just to be there. It was just blessed to be on that field. Now to play on it, to start, it felt great.
I love it, man. You fired me up talking like that. Now, you were rocking some black cleats. What's up with that, man? Tell us about the black cleats.
I'm a big fan of the black cleats. I'm more a generic guy. So, I mean, the black cleats just blend all the colors into my opinion. I also do like the white and red cleats, though. I'm a big fan of them. I think I'm gonna bring them out soon. But I love the black cleats, and I would love to wear black gloves too. But I decided to go white. I catch better with them, so I'm a big fan of the black cleats. Though.
Wait, hold on. You catch better in the white gloves? Give me the analytics.
Some people.
Give me the analytics behind that. Are you keeping track? What do you mean you catch better with the white gloves?
I'm a big superstitious guy, so I feel like I play good in the white gloves, so I just like to stick with them.
I was similar, man. I was a superstition guy too. Like, especially if something was working, I wasn't messing with nothing. I didn't care how stinky it was, how nasty it was. I'm gonna keep rocking with it as long as I possibly can. And I like the black cleats, man. I remember they let us we had the option to wear black cleats at one point, and I always thought it was a good, clean look. Now, how many options do you guys get? I know Jordan hooks you guys up. Like, do you kind of get like a laundry list of cleats you guys can select from? What's that like?
It's like if you hear the previous years, you got a lot more options because the years that they passed out cleats to you, you get to keep them cleats. So I got some options from last year. So I got a couple Jordan cleats that I like to wear. Some are comfortable than others. So the ones that we got recently, I like the way they feel. I didn't like the way the fives feel last year. They were kind of they just hurt my feet. But this year I like the ones. So I'm a big fan of them. This is my first year having the ones this year. I'm excited to wear them.
The ones are a timeless look. Whether you're rocking them, in everyday life, you can wear them out, but certainly they turn them into a football cleat. They look good, man. So looking at the UTEP game, right? Just when you were able to watch the tape and evaluate yourself, how'd you feel you played?
I played explosive. I played with a lot of energy and effort, finishing my blocks and everything. I feel like I played great. And seeing how fast-paced the offense came, I feel like we played great as a unit, coming out, having explosive plays as a team, being excited for each other, everybody making plays, and just keeping the energy out there.
Love that, man. You guys came right after him, not afraid to take shots down the field. We know you're going to be an attacking offense I love the fact that you're talking like that, because I feel like some people can get down if their stats aren't what they thought. You had one catch for 9 yards, but I love the fact that stats don't always tell if you played well or you still feel good about what you did out there on the field. How do you do that? How do you separate looking at stats and, making sure that you're doing your job each and every time you're out there? Because you've got the right mindset, but I got to tell you, man, I don't think that's the mindset that everybody has.
Yeah, I just know growing up, it always been playing with these coaches, it's always a bigger picture. The bigger picture is we playing as a team. Uh, some games you have them big flashy stats and everything, but it's not always about that. It's about the win. It's about playing with effort and making sure you're doing your job at all times. And if you're doing your part, you can control what you can control. And if we win, we win. I'm happy. I was blessed to be out there, man. I was just happy to play with my teammates.
I love that, Gabe. I love that, man.
And that's the mentality you hope every player on the team has, right? Because that's the mentality that creates, just unique culture. You mentioned the blocking stuff, man. I went back through and watched every play. You were getting after it out there on the perimeter, man. How is it difficult when maybe you're not getting as many touches as you want, right? Because, all wide receivers, all skill guys want the football, right? Is it difficult to keep blocking at the level that you were blocking it, or is that just something you've kind of trained yourself to do through the offseason and kind of with this new mentality that Coach Venables has brought to the program?
I would say it's something that I had already, but it's something that I kept with myself. A quote: "You don't block, you don't get the ball." So if I just don't block on the perimeter, I just know it's never going to come my way at all. So we've been training all summer, all spring, maintaining our blocks on the perimeter. So our coaches, we preach that a lot. So you got to block to get the rock. So it's just how it is.
Got to block to get the rock.
That's
I like
awesome,
that, man. That's a great saying. I haven't heard that, but I love it. I may use that in my broadcast this week. I'm going to steal it. I'll try to give you credit, Jalil, but I can't promise. That's good. And you guys were doing a nice job on the perimeter. Nice on some of those bubbles, just springing some. I got to ask you about Gavin Freeman, because we've heard a lot about him coming in, local product, walks on, but he's a really talented player. He's worked his tail off, got great speed, track guy. And what was it like to see him, keep that contact balance, fight through that hit, spin around, and put that speed to work in the open field? I want to know how it felt when you guys saw it live in the game, but more importantly, when you went back and watched it as a wide receiver room, what was the conversation like there as well?
Man, it was unbelievable to see Gavin do that. I just was so excited. I couldn't believe he broke all that and then made it happen. That was a great play, and putting all the work he put in, he deserved it. And the receiver we went through, it was like, man, we all thought he was going to be tackled at that point, breaking 2 tackles. And he just looked explosive. He deserved it.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the plays of the game. And what a moment for Gavin and for his family on his first touch. You had one, man. I mean, this close on the long ball there from Dylan. Like, when it's that close, like, is it frustrating, or is it like, hey, we're going to get the next one, like it's going to come when you're that close to having a long ball touchdown like that? What's kind of the reaction, man?
It's kind of frustrating, but it's kind of like, man, it's just, you just know that feeling. You like, dang, you almost had one, you almost had it. That was the one. But you just keep your head up and you feel like you're going to get another one next, either the next play or plays after that next drive. You'll be all right.
It's a long season. There's going to be plenty more opportunities. Dylan throws that really nice deep ball with great touch. And you guys, man, I mean, 7 minutes into the game or so, you guys are up 21-0, 7-8 minutes. I mean, it was like blink and you would have missed it. What was that conversation like over on the sideline when you guys got off to that hot start? What were you guys talking about over on the side, just kind of demeanor, the mindset, the conversations?
We was all just excited. Like, we look better. We look like better than we expected. Coming out hot. I mean, we expected the fast pace, but we were scoring like 2 to 3 plays. We just wanted to keep that up. That is the goal for the year. So that's what we're talking about. Like, we're gonna be a great team. We keep doing that.
What?
I got one more real quick, Gabe, because I meant to ask you this before we go to Kent State. Did anybody know that Dylan had them moves where he could put the foot in the ground and make people miss?
No.
Because I think he surprised himself with that first run, man.
I think he surprised himself personally. He surprised everybody in the sideline, but he made it happen. He was like, "Ooh, stop playing!" Yeah, he was excited.
Was that's interesting because was it one of those situations? Because right, we'd all been wondering how involved he was going to be as a runner, right? And then all of a sudden he's diving, getting hit by like 3 guys, diving into the end zone. Were you like, hey man, that was awesome. We love that you can do that, but maybe let's not? Like, was any of that part of the reaction?
Some people did have that type of reaction. Some people was like, it was just like, we didn't know he had it in him, you know what I'm saying? So it was like it was like a jump of joy kind of like thing. But some people was like, calm down, man, I'm gonna hurt yourself out there. But yeah, it was a mixed emotions out there.
All right, let's move on to nice win. I'm glad that you had so much fun and you enjoyed it, and can't wait to see what this week has in store. We're getting closer and closer to game time. You've had a good chance to look at Kent State, and Kent State runs a similar offense to you guys, so you know that their defense is accustomed to going against that style of offense. Anything change for you guys? Can we see you guys maybe even pick up the tempo even more in this game to try to wear them down, or kind of the similar from a tempo standpoint to what we saw last week?
I feel like we're gonna score pretty fast again this week. We're gonna have a lot more tempo. They like to play a lot of zone. Last week they like to play a lot of man. UTEP did, so it's gonna be a complete different game. I just feel like we're gonna have to be more explosive. Maybe a lot more plays. Maybe not 2 to 3, but because they do play a lot of zone, they play a lot of deep. They drop 8, so it'll be an exciting game to watch though.
Yeah, you mentioned that drop 8, right? They got a new defensive coordinator who has implemented the 3-3-5 that you guys see a lot in conference play. So is this one of the situations where you look at it and you're like, hey, we're going to see a lot of this. Let's go into this thing and let's execute really well, knowing that this is the style of defense that several teams in the conference play?
Yeah, that's exactly how our mindset. And we see a lot. We're going to see it a lot this year. So we just got to make sure we're executing. Everybody's doing their job. Everybody's helping everybody. Everybody's doing their job so the Pacific person can get open in the perimeter.
From a wide receiver perspective, when there is all that zone coverage, you know, you got to find the holes in the zone and you got to sit down. Just from a, understanding with Dylan, the wide receivers, and knowing kind of where exactly you and the other receivers, where to sit down, how much of that is repetition and practice so that you guys are on the same page? You're anticipating the coverage they're in. I'm sure Dylan's anticipating where you guys are going to sit down your routes, but just kind of maybe walk that through some of the listeners at home that maybe don't understand the different ways when you see those different coverages, man versus zone, how that changes things for you guys in particular in the wide receiver room.
It changes a lot. A lot that plays in our play is pre-snap. Identifying the zone, man. Identifying what they're in before the play runs. It changed a lot for me and the QB. So that's a big part. So we got to make sure we watch a lot of film. Make sure we pay attention to corners alignment, safety alignment, the robber alignment, and everything like that in the bandit.
So this may be hard for you to believe, but I actually never played wide receiver. Now I did play tight end. I went to OU as a tight end, so I know a little bit what it feels like. But when you're studying an opponent, right? How much is it, okay, what do they do schematically? What coverages do they major in? And then how much are you looking at individual guys, right? Like studying what they do in the back end, what they do well, what they don't do well. Like how does that all work for a wide receiver?
For us, we watch a couple of games. We tend to look at their they're like what do you call it? We tend to look at the things that they do. I'm trying to find the word for it. I'm sorry. Usually we just watch specific players like the corners and the safeties, see what they do, like the tendencies that they do over and over. I know me personally, I tend to watch the same plays over and over so I can see the specific tendencies they do. Like, for example, I know the corners that we play this week, number 35 and 12. I know 35, he likes to play off in the field, and 12 likes to play pressed in the boundary. So we just continue to watch the film over and over to see what they like to do. Like last game they played, they did a lot of similarities. They play kind of the same. One is bigger than the other, but I feel like we're gonna have a big week.
Love it. Absolutely love that. Now, with a lot of zone, teams typically run that because they want to keep things in front. You receivers, you like big explosive plays. Does that frustrate you at all? Like when you got a nickel and dime them, or no? It's just the way they're going to play you. So your approach changes from what you're going to do, but you don't really care. If you want to play this, we'll beat you with that.
Yeah, I don't care at all. I just even if I have a 5-yard catch, I'm still trying to go score. So it's supposed to play either way.
I like that. I mean, hey, just get me the football and I'll make something happen. I like that mentality. I just have one more Kent State question, and then we'll get to the fan questions, Jalil. You watched Washington carve them up in the passing game. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. Michael Penix Jr. was throwing it all around on him. I mean, that's just the truth. So when you see a team on tape giving up big plays in the passing game, are you watching it like, okay, yeah, this is going to be our week? Or are you guys, do you just have that singular focus like, hey, that's that game, we got to focus on us? Like, how does that all factor in?
I'd be like, we just got to focus on us. But, it is exciting to see if someone else make big plays that we are going to make big plays. But we just try to stay focused on us, keep the main thing.
No doubt. Keep the main thing for sure. All right. Well, we can't wait to see what you guys look like against that Kent State defense coming up Saturday afternoon. Time for some fan questions. Fan questions brought to you by Love's Travel Stop. Visit loves.com for more information on the nation's leading travel stop network that's headquartered right here in the great state of Oklahoma. Kirk Crawford wants to know who on defense talks the most trash.
I would say Isaiah Cole, in my opinion.
Whoa.
I think he talks the most there.
Defensive
I feel like
tackle.
he talks a lot on the field.
Huh.
Yeah.
I would never see that coming. A defensive tackle having a lot to say, huh, Dvoracek? That's interesting.
Hey, listen, I could talk a little trash, but I would have assumed for sure it's corners. I feel like corners
do talk a lot. They do talk a lot. I think Cole talks the most, in my opinion. So
okay, I like that.
That's interesting. And hey, I'll say he did a good job, especially against the run in the opener against UTEP. So hopefully he can build on that. And that D line did a good job in general. Just what they have, 28 yards on 31 carries. That'll work. Okay, this last one comes from Charles H. And this is a good one, man. What's the best part of game day for players that a fan may not get to see? It's kind of a tough one, right? I know, like
you saying the best part in the game, or
I think just
building
like
up to the game,
all the game day, any part.
I'll say probably pregame talk. Like building up, like Coach BV talking to us before the game, getting us excited before the game. I feel like that's a big part that the fans don't see,
Do you guys do a motivational video? Do they have like a
Oh yeah, also that. Yeah, we do have a motivational video before we step out on there, before we get out on the field and everything. So that's exciting.
That was always mine, because like it was always a big deal who made the video. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's usually highlights from the game before. So it's like, man, and and you're about ready to go, and we'd be sitting there watching, and they have some cool music, and I'm sure that the video crew does it upright, but that was always it for me, man. That's when it was like it's go time when after we watched the motivational video.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And
Well, go make some plays in this game so you can be on that Nebraska week's
But
motivational video.
yeah,
Jalil,
too.
man, we appreciate it. Have fun out there this weekend. Go make some plays, and I can't wait to talk to you again next month, man. Stay healthy and best of luck.
I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Thanks to Jalil for joining us. And now it's time for me and my man Gabe to break it down. All right, the breakdown brought to you by the Oklahoma Proton Center. It's one of the top cancer centers in the region using state-of-the-art proton therapy. Oklahoma Proton Center, more than a cure, quality of life. All right, Kent State, let's break it down. First of all, Jalil, I just want to go back to what he was saying. Like, you want to talk about unselfish football. And, I'm sure you know this, but receivers kind of, they've got the, people think of them as being divas and that they always need to get the football. So I think you always just kind of worry about it for not getting their touches. Where's their mindset going to be? Are they going to be fully engaged? To hear Jalil talk about it doesn't matter. His genuine excitement just for starting and being out there. And regardless if he's getting his catches or not, still trying to impact every play. And it's about the team and winning. Man, like you said earlier, you hope everybody has that mentality, but so refreshing and so good to hear Jalil talk that way. And it felt very genuine, not like he was saying it just to say it.
I completely agree. And it's almost similar to the Braden Willis situation in my mind, right? If you do your job, if you take care of your assignment, like if you do the dirty work, right, the stuff that's not glamorous about playing a skill position, the football gods tend to reward those guys, right? The guys that play hard and execute, the ball tends to find those guys. And I love it. Hey, if you don't block, you don't get the rock. I mean, put it on a t-shirt. That is absolutely fantastic. But
I think he said block if you want the rock. Isn't that right?
There you go.
Block
there you go.
if you
Put
want
that
the
on a t-shirt. And
love it.
If your entire team has that mentality, if your skill group has that mentality, you're going to win a lot of football games. Right.
Yeah.
Because, and I know guys want the ball. Of course they want the ball. They want to produce. They want to show what they can do. They want to help the team. But that mentality helps the team more than anything. Right. Especially a guy as talented as Jalil. So yeah, that was really cool to hear, man.
I'm totally with you. All right. Kent State, you referenced it. New defensive coordinator, Jeremiah Johnson. 3-3-5, which you see a lot of in this league. Obviously, Iowa State runs it. We see Baylor throw it in there as well. A lot of people do. Oklahoma runs some of this also. It's become pretty much mainstream. I mean, most schools have some form of this within their arsenal. We'll see a lot of it here in this game. And, you kind of referenced it already. And by the way, Michael Penix's a lefty. So just like Dillon Gabriel, a lefty. So I'm sure watching that film, seeing exactly what was open, it's going to give them a very good feel for, where they think they want to attack them. And what he throw for 345, 4 touchdowns, is very efficient. And not to knock Michael Penix, 2 years ago in 2020, he had a good year, but last year I had a chance to do 2 Indiana games and he struggled mightily. Now, maybe he's in a better place in Washington this year, but he is not nearly as an accurate or a skilled a passer as Dillon is. So I just think going into this game, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Dillon to be able to find some open receivers and with his accuracy, be able to put up some really quality numbers in this ball game. I feel like this is going to be an opportunity for Dillon to really put on a show. And he was efficient in week 1. He didn't have the gaudy numbers, but I'm kind of expecting this week to be where we see those big time numbers. And for everybody to go, oh, wow, that's the Dillon Gabriel we were so fired up and excited about before the season began.
Yeah. And I think the best way to describe it is Kent State, right? A philosophical change defensively. And after watching the Washington game, they very much appear to be still working the kinks out, adjusting
Correct.
to that new system. They just gave up so many plays. And it wasn't like they didn't get it thrown over their head, but it was like the 15 to 20-yard range out by the sideline. Like they just, for whatever reason, they couldn't make the adjustments to defend that from Washington. And Penix just picked them apart, destroyed them, attacking that area of the field. Now, you would assume they watch that on tape. They're going to adjust. They're going to shore some of that up from a coverage standpoint. But yeah, it's probably pretty safe to assume that once you show that weakness on film, Oklahoma is going to try to attack that and make sure that you've corrected that. Now we'll see what it looks like, but one of the really interesting things for me is this is a style of defense that OU is going to see a lot, right? We talked to Jalil about that a little bit. I'm curious to see how Jeff Lebby attacks this style of defense, right? I'm interested to see how the run game opens things up, right? Because we know he wants to run the football. That's going to be first and foremost when they're trying to attack this 3-3-5. But then if you're running it well, like how does he scheme up taking some of those big shots down the field and some of these deep zone coverages? That's what I'm really interested in seeing in this football game, because Levy's been in the lab trying to dial those up because one of his things is score from far, right? So I'm really interested to see how he makes that all work together in this football game.
No question. And as far as Kent State, you wonder, do they overcompensate to make up for some of last week's mistakes? And then that opens up, a new problem somewhere. It's kind of like the old dam analogy. You plug one hole and then another one, squirts open. I kind of feel like there's going to be opportunities for Oklahoma throughout the course of this ball game. And I think that, just from Dylan, to me, does such a good job of being able to go through his progressions. Like that's one thing that I've observed from him. He's very good at going from 1 to 2, getting those in his feet, go with his eyes. He really gets himself squared up and in good position. And for some quarterbacks that can't do that, right, they struggle against a lot of zone coverage. It doesn't concern me as much with Dylan just because I feel like he has that ability that some quarterbacks at this level don't, to be able to go all the way through his progressions and get the ball to the open guy. Because here's the thing, even when you're deploying 8, there's going to be some holes in there. And I think as well as they're going to be coached up at wide receiver, and as well as they're going to be able to find those open spots in the zone, I think Dylan's going to be able to distribute the football. So that's why I just, you can put 8 in coverage, but there's always going to be some open grass somewhere out there on the field. And if you've got a quarterback who's able to go through his progressions and locate that, you can slice and dice. You may have to nickel and dime a little bit, may not be as many shot plays as we saw last week, but I still think there's going to be opportunities and ones that Dylan's going to be able to exploit.
And does he have the patience, right? I mean, and he was pretty aggressive with the football last week against UTEP, right? I mean, took multiple shots, connected on some, missed on a couple. He clearly wants to push the football down the field, and that's a reflection of what Jeff Lebby wants as the offensive coordinator. But how does he respond when the other team is saying, hey, take the underneath stuff, right? How does he respond? Because it can be a little boring playing quarterback against a defense like that, right? Can he stay patient, or does he get a little antsy? I got a feeling he's going to stay plenty patient. This guy's played a ton of football. He's going to take what Kent State's defense is giving him, but it is an interesting storyline going into this game. There's no doubt about it, Dusty.
And I'll just say this. I'm okay with Oklahoma's skill in open space against Kent State secondary. I just am. Give me Eric Gray with the ball, Marvin Mims with the ball. out in space, and I don't think it's going to be easy for Kent State to be able to get them on the ground. So this could easily be a game, where we see some yak yardage. I think is getting the ball out. Maybe you have to dump it down, but then when you get some of those guys, Jalil out in open space, I think it's going to be tough for Kent State to be able to tackle and tough for Kent State to be able to get those guys on the ground. So will be fun to watch. One thing we haven't really talked about, because we talked a lot of defense this week, but offensive line. What did you think about the offensive line in game one? Tyler Guyton getting the start at tackle. So we got a chance to see him for the first time. Long offensive tackle, ton of upside, able to go ahead and jump Wanye Morris in that rotation. But you're the offensive line guru. As we get ready for Kent State, what did you like from the UTEP game? What do you want to see maybe better here against Kent State?
Yeah, I think it's got to be better, right? If this team wants to get where it wants to go, they need to have improved play along the offensive line. And looking at the group as a whole, and I know it's really, really hard with the tempo that they play with how quickly you got to get lined up and snap the ball again. They got to finish blocks better, right? There are too many guys falling off blocks, making tackles in the run game, right? Runs that went for 5 or 6 that could have been maybe 15 or 16, right? If you stick on the block for a half second longer. Same thing in protection, right? Letting guys get off late and affecting throws that Dylan's trying to make. That's all stuff that I think that they can clean up. As far as, the individual guys, Guyton did some good things. At other times, you're looking at it going, that guy looks like, he's starting his first game at left tackle, right? There were some highs and lows for him. He's going to get better. The left guard position, I'm of the belief, and no one has told me this, but to me, it looked like McCade Matar was playing hurt. He did not look like the guy I saw in the spring and in training camp. So that's something to keep an eye on. Andrew Rame, certainly an improved player, still needs to use his hands better. He needs to grab people. He needs to hold. I mean, he doesn't hold enough.
Spoken like a true offensive lineman and center himself. Yes, you guys love to hold. I think he looks like a better player, man. He's an improved from where he was a year ago.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Right guard, I thought Chris Murray may have been the best guy, the most consistent guy. He once again, he's not going to get any taller. His arms aren't going to get any longer, but he plays with the right mentality, and I think that's why he was named one of the game captains for the Kent State game. So I think Chris he's improved as well. And then Anton, I really respect him being able to flip over to right tackle kind of on short notice and play when you spend an entire offseason playing left tackle. If anyone thinks that is easy, it is not. Basically, imagine hitting, like playing golf right-handed for an entire summer, and then you're about to play in a tournament and they say, hey, no. You got to play left-handed. You got to switch it up. Like that's how it is. So I thought under the circumstances, he played well. Now, my expectations for him when he goes back to left tackle, I expect it to look a lot better than what it did. But I'm overly critical. I know I am of the offensive line, right? They rushed for like 6.8 yards a carry. I understand that, but I believe that group is kind of what is going to determine the ceiling of this football team. So they've got to continue to get better, and hopefully Wanye Morris's off the field issue gets resolved here in the near future, and they can get their best 5 out on the field.
I thought Anton looked good to me. Again, we expect a lot from him, but I thought, again, making that switch and moving over, I thought he did a pretty nice job overall. I thought the offensive line was solid, and I do expect him to continue to improve moving into this upcoming week. So, tempo will be something that we kind of talked about. This team won't be caught off guard. It's a similar offense. Babers, he was there with Jeff Lebby at Baylor. So they've got similar backgrounds, similar pedigrees. So from that standpoint, Sean Lewis, a disciple of Dino Babers, his defense isn't going to be overwhelmed, I don't think, with tempo, and they're probably going to have a decent understanding of what Oklahoma is going to throw at them. So it's going to be a fun matchup. Can't wait. Oklahoma should handle their business for a second straight week, just like they did against UTEP. And next week, we'll be here to break it all down in full detail. Thanks to Muse Growth Strategies for continuing to help us spread the word about strengthening Oklahoma. And as always, thank you to you guys, our subscribers. You help make this show go. We wouldn't be here without you guys. You're making an impact. You're making a difference in strengthening Oklahoma and in so many of these players' lives. We thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you again next time right here on Strengthening Oklahoma.